That is what's expected for Chinese President Xi Jinping's first state visit to the United States. 2 years after a new type of major power relationship was called for by the leaders of countries, China and the U.S. have confronted and talked, both in a direct and deepening way.
I think there are many positive sides of the U.S.-China relationship. We found many areas to cooperate, whether it's on issues of climate change or global public health or dealing with the problems of nuclear proliferation. The United States and China are working together very well.
But challenges remain, including the South China Sea disputes between China and other claimants, as well as the cybersecurity issue.
We recognize that these disputes are not going to be easily resolved, but that we each have a responsibility to try to find a way to manage those disputes.
The U.S. and China have different concerns on cyber. I think U.S. concerns have to do with theft of intellectual property of companies and copying of it by Chinese companies. Chinese concerns have to do with what they perceive as just the magnitude of American cyber espionage. But we have some common concerns. One common concern we have is to prevent any sabotage of our infrastructure.
Mutual trust is still lacking to a certain extent due to a power relationship change, but the gap between China and the U.S. has narrowed.
At the end of World War II and in the 1950s, the United States controlled more than 35% of global GDP. Now, depending on the figures, we control 17 or 18%. China, at the end of World War II, at the founding of the People's Republic of China, controlled 2% of global GDP, and you had 25% of the world's people. Now you control 16 or 17% of global GDP. So the institutions of the world have to begin to adjust to this changing power balance. And I think that means China needs to be invited, so to speak, to play a bigger role.
Being highly interdependent on each other, China and the U.S. cannot afford the risk of conflict.
I think we have to be a little more respectful of each other's interests. It'd be my own view that the United States probably could do less close-in surveillance of China. I think this is very worrisome to Chinese people.
The flip side of building trust, work on the areas of common interest, but also try to manage in ways that are responsible the areas where we have differences.
China and the U.S. are inseparable from each other in one of the most complicated relationships in the world. Realistic and constructive, the decisions the two leaders are going to make in their coming meeting will not only shape the future of the bilateral ties, but also the future of the world. Tang Shuxin, CCTV, Beijing.